one side, the Shrewsbury River is less than a mile away to the west. During Hurricane Sandy, this entire borough flooded. Rebuilding in the 13 years since Sandy is focused on making things higher. Flooding is not expected to approach the devastation of Sandy, but with coastal flood warnings in effect, people here are ready. Brian Clark, ABC News, Seabright, New Jersey.
There were no winners in last night's $643 million Powerball drawing. Saturday's jackpot swelling to $700 million.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Thursday, August 21st. A second suspect has been arrested in the armed robbery of Frugal's restaurant in Port Angeles that happened last December. 59-year-old Burton Bill Brown is in custody after his arrest on August 19th north of Centralia on a warrant related to that Frugal's robbery. Back on December 5th, after closing time, Frugal's staff reported they were robbed at gunpoint by two men who had their faces covered. The guns were pointed at the two employees, forcing them into the bathroom. The suspects demanded one of the employees' vehicle keys and stole the vehicle to flee the scene. Now, the other suspect in the case, 36-year-old Anthony Lewis Reynolds, was arrested on June 21st. On his arrest on Tuesday, Brown was found to be in possession of suspected methamphetamine and a firearm. Brown is prohibited to have that because of prior convictions. He was processed and booked into the Lewis County Jail with fresh charges for possession of the firearm. That charge in Lewis County will be in addition to the charges in Clallam County related to the Frugal's robbery, including a couple of counts of robbery, 2 counts of kidnapping, theft, burglary, and theft of a motor vehicle. Olympic Medical Center has been granted a 5-week extension to the deadline that would have terminated its Medicare payments for noncompliance of 2 patient care standards. Hospital staff learned last Thursday, the day before the previous deadline, that federal health officials will now give them until September 20th to remedy the issues found in a routine State Department of Health survey. The report found OMC non-compliant in the areas of patient rights and nursing services, which are required for Medicare-approved hospitals. Termination of payments can be avoided if the hospital corrects the deficiencies and submits an acceptable plan of correction verified by the Department of Health. Last week, OMC's Bobby Stone told KONP, quote, during their recent visit, the Washington State Department of Health noticed significant improvements in our clinical documentation, and we feel confident that those remaining issues will be addressed during DOH's next visit. This week, Stone told us that, quote, we do not yet have our report from the Department of Health. We have 10 calendar days to respond to DOH with any needed corrective action plans. We value continuous improvement. We will continue to work closely and diligently with our regulators on these surveys, end quote. Clallam County Sheriff's Office has secured a $91,000 grant to help fund sex offender registration and monitoring. Sheriff Brian King told county commissioners this week the grant will cover multiple years and support oversight of about 170 registered offenders in the county. Monitoring is shared between the Sheriff's Office and local cities, with funding distributed based on the number of offenders each city oversees.
Really, it's every week you have changes in, whether it's a change in address, whether it's somebody just coming into the community to work. There's all these different requirements if you're going to be in our community for more than 3 days. And let's say it's a labor intensive, but it's a statutory function of our office. I mean, it's not something we can be relieved of. That's where we rely on the cities. I mean, we have the greatest number living in unincorporated Clallam County. It really kind of aligns with the demographic makeup of our county as far as population goes.
Now, the Sheriff's Office evaluates offenders and assigns them a risk level that determines how often they must check in. Level 3 offenders, considered the highest, are monitored 4 times a year through home visits. Level 2 offenders are checked twice a year, while Level 1 offenders are contacted once a year. Transient offenders are required to check in weekly, and detectives are alerted immediately if someone fails to comply. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Hi, this is Mike from American Rare Coin and Gold in Sequim. Do you have a house project needs doing but lacking the funds? Now is a great time to sell gold, silver, or rare coins. Prices are at an all-time high. We love to buy coin collections, gold and silver jewelry and bullion. We even help with entire estates. You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Come see me, Mike, at American Rare Coin and Gold in Sequim. Call 360-968-4943.
This is Stephen Gasquet, host of Real Estate Today, your instant connection to the American dream of home ownership. Each week, we'll open doors for buyers and sellers with critical and credible information on the real estate market. It's fast-paced and fact-packed with experts, interviews, call-ins, field reports, and timely market conditions. If you're not currently in the real estate market, I'm sure you know someone who needs some good advice. Catch us Sunday mornings, 7 to 9 on Newsradio KONP.
In other news, homelessness in Washington state continued to rise this past year, but at a slower pace, according to new data from the State Department of Commerce and the annual point-in-time count. The January 30th PIT count found 22,173 people experiencing homelessness statewide, excluding King County's population. The total marked a 4.5% increase from 2024 and a 25% rise since 2022. Commerce's broader snapshot report, which includes King County, estimated 159,000 people were unhoused or in emergency shelters, up about 2% from last year. There are 3 new police canine teams on the Olympic Peninsula. Port Angeles Police Officer Emery and her canine Solo, PAPD Officer McKnight and his canine Freddie, and Sequim PD Officer Johnson and his canine Dutch have now joined PAPD Officer Fairbanks and her canine Cooper. The new canine teams are the results of months of training over this past spring and summer. Each canine officer and dog completed over 400 hours of training and passed a Washington State certification test. The canine teams used in situations where they're most suitable as a resource that would include searches for felony and potentially violent fugitives, building searches, and for support during other high-risk operations. They are trained and certified in obedience, tracking, building, and area searches, article searches, handler protection, and criminal apprehension. By the way, the next time you talk with one of the canine officers locally, you can ask them for a canine team trading card. For the second straight day, activists staged a protest on Microsoft's campus yesterday, demanding the company cut ties with the Israeli government over its technology's alleged use by the Israeli military. Chanting, "We will not stop, we will not rest until you divest." Protesters set up an encampment in a recently renovated plaza on the Redmond campus. The demonstration lasted about an hour before Redmond police ordered the group to leave. 18 protesters were arrested on charges, including trespassing, resisting arrest, and malicious mischief, according to police. A La Nina watch has been issued for the Pacific Northwest, signaling a possible shift in weather patterns later this year. The National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center says there's a 56% chance La Nina conditions could develop by fall or early winter. Currently, the region remains in a neutral pattern with sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific near average. If La Nina forms, it could bring cooler, wetter conditions. Good news for snowpack, which has been below average in recent years. Snow water equivalents in spring this year were just 67% of normal in most of the areas. Forecasters note the pattern may return to neutral, though, later in winter next year. But for now, snow enthusiasts have some reason for cautious optimism heading into the colder months. This is Newsradio KONP.
Campfires, road trips, late-night stories, and early morning hikes. During RV Country's Labor Day sales event, your next adventure is waiting for you. Choose from a huge selection of new and used RVs perfect for families big or small. Trade in your old RV, get easy on-the-spot financing, and check out our Labor Day deals. Like this 2025 Odyssey for $568 a month, or this 2025 Little Buggy for $172 a month. The adventure of a lifetime is waiting for you at all RV Country locations.
This is Trevor Shumway from Firehouse Grill. We have some great news. We're dropping prices on our most popular items and not dropping quality. We're stubborn in wanting to provide the best quality possible. We hand weigh and hand smash our burgers daily, marinating our chicken in-house and hand breaded per order. hand scooping every shake ordered. And have you tried our smash burgers yet? One of the best things we've done at Firehouse Grill. I won't compromise on quality ever. Come check us out. Firehouse Grill Burgers and Fries on 8th Street.
Oh, you got punched. Okay, that's nice. How badly were you injured, Tim?
I have a detached retina.
You have a detached retina because of you getting punched? Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
You have a detached retina. Were there witnesses that saw you getting hit?
Yes, sir.
You got a case. Oh, yeah. No, there's a case there. There's a case, if anybody believes you. There's a case.
Catch Handle on the Law Saturday afternoons at 4 on News Radio KONP.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of 70. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 56. Tonight, mainly clear. Tomorrow, highs level off around 76. Temperatures well above average Saturday and Sunday with highs in the upper 70s. A peak at the extended shows 76 Monday, 76 Tuesday, and 74 on Wednesday. Another look at the short range. We should top out at 70 today. Lows level off around 56 tonight. High of 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 67.
Back, gone. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. 9 home runs on Tuesday, 5 more Wednesday for the Yankees as they beat Tampa Bay 6-4 in 10 innings. Trent Grisham, Austin Wells, each hitting 2 yesterday. 14 home runs for the Yankees over the last 2 games. That ties the record for the most in a 2-game span in baseball history. The 1999 Reds, the only other team to do it. Padres hit 4 yesterday. They beat the Giants 8-1. Padres a game behind the Dodgers atop the NL West. Dodgers fall to Colorado. LA's dropped the last 4 games started by Shohei Ohtani. Angels edge the Reds 2-1. Mets unable to take advantage of Cincinnati's loss. New York falling to Washington 5-4. Mets still lead the Reds by a game for the final NL wildcard spot. Cubs 4-3 over the Brewers, who've dropped their last 3. Diamondbacks walk off the Guardians in 10 innings 3-2. Detroit sweeps the Astros 7-2. Phillies over the Mariners 11-2. Kyle Schwarber, number 45 on the season, his 3rd season with at least 45 homers. Some great finishes last night in Williamsport. South Carolina stays alive, a dramatic 7-6 walk-off win in extra innings after falling behind by 5 in the top of the 7th. Connecticut stays unbeaten. They advance to the U.S. Championship game Saturday on ABC. WNBA Sparks get a game-winning layup at the buzzer from Kelsey Plum to beat Dallas 81-80. Paige Beckers, a rookie record 44 in the loss. NFL, Tyson Bagent, 2 years, $10 million extension. The West Virginia native was undrafted as a rookie out of D2 when the Bears brought him in. He was entering the final season of his rookie deal.
A lot of people don't know this, but, my dad is he's my right-hand man, and he didn't even have running water until he was in high school. So there's definitely a lot of things and people that I think I could certainly help with this gift I've been blessed with.
An emotional Bajan after getting the deal. Kansas City Star reporting last night that over a year ago, May 2024, Andy Reid was working in his office when a bullet came through the window and lodged in the wall.
In local sports, the North Olympic 13U baseball team wrapped up its run at the Babe Ruth World Series with a 1-3 record. Looks like will not advance to the elimination round after a 5-0 loss yesterday to Stamford, Connecticut. North Olympic earned its lone win Tuesday, defeating Australia 12-6. However, the team struggled at the plate throughout the tournament, tallying just 5 hits in its 3 losses and 2 hits in the final game. But still a great season getting those kids to the World Series there in Jamestown, New York.
And the 2-0 pitch, swinging a hard ground ball right to the second baseman, Stott. He's got it to throw to first, and the ball game is over. The Phillies win it. A final score of 11-2, and they sweep the Mariners in this 3-game set.
Yeah, Trey Turner had 5 hits and 2 RBIs. Kyle Schwarber drove in 5 runs as the Philadelphia Phillies swept the Seattle Mariners with an 11-2 win yesterday. Julio Rodriguez and Eugenio Suarez homered for the M's, who've now dropped 5 straight and 7 of their last 8. Despite a difficult 2-7 East Coast road trip, Seattle remains in playoff position. At 68-60, they trail the AL West leading Astros by just a game and a half and currently hold the 3rd AL wildcard spot just behind the Yankees and Red Sox. Those 2 teams face off this weekend. Meantime, Seattle Mariners reliever Taylor Saucedo shared on social media yesterday he received a threatening message following the loss to the Phillies. Saucedo's post, which neared 1 million impressions, included a screenshot of the vulgar message, which also targeted his girlfriend. The threat came from an Instagram account labeled Gilbert's Goon Squad. I understand being frustrated with how I've played, Saucedo wrote, but sending this kind of message to me and my partner is beyond baseball. Former Mariners center fielder Mike Cameron, now a special assignment coach, responded with support, said turn off the responses, report them to MLB, and keep it moving, he wrote. Mariners have the day off today. They return home on Friday.
Miss, your burger is served.
Thank you.
And if I may suggest a pairing, this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. The sweetness of Pepsi perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger, while the citrus and carbonation elevates the taste for a truly stunning flavor profile. Bon appetit.
Now that is one perfect combination. If this is how the other half lives, I could get used to this. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Clallam County Commissioner Randy Johnson joins the Assessor's Office team to talk about upcoming property value notices going out. Realtor May Graves will be with us with local real estate trends, and Kevin Holt has your latest business bits.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is now looking into Tesla. That's for reportedly delaying the sharing of details of crashes involving its driver assist technology, waiting, quote, several months or more after crashes occurred to make incident reports to federal safety officials. Tesla says that was due to an issue with its data collection procedures, which have now been fixed. Shares of Tesla this hour down about 1%, while elsewhere on Wall Street, stocks are lower off the lows of the session, though. A lot of worries that the Federal Reserve may not decide to lower rates at its next meeting after strong manufacturing data for August. That could push inflation a little higher. Right now, the Dow is down only about 0.25%. The big drag there, shares of Walmart down 5% after an earnings miss last quarter on higher insurance and higher tariff costs. The Nasdaq and the S&P each down by 1/3. And after 4 weeks in a row of falling, average long-term mortgage rates held steady this week at 6.58%, according to Freddie Mac. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Check the roads next.
At McCrory Carpet One, they know how important it is to feel confident in your flooring selection. You want to know it's going to look exactly the way you want it once it's installed in your home. That's why they offer their one-of-a-kind guarantee, making sure you're 100% happy that the floor you've created together is as beautiful as the one in your dreams. If not, they'll replace it for free. That's what they call the Beautiful Guarantee. Peace of mind is yours with every installation. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
Growing your family is an exciting journey, and the labor and delivery team at Olympic Medical Center is here to walk it with you. Our team tailors your birthing experience with you, offering the choice and security you're looking for from the comfort of OMC's Birth Center. Learn more about OMC's team of obstetricians, nurse midwives, RNs, lactation consultants, and more at olympicmedical.org/Stork Squad.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
Let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center, and that's where Steve's standing by with an eye on the roads for us this noon hour. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're doing pretty good overall. A little bit on the busy side out there through the Port Angeles Swim area. A fair amount of traffic right now. Seems to be moving along pretty well. Just some slight delays at the stoplights, but quite a volume of cars out there right now. If you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Swim, you definitely want to be careful through Baker Dip and Lee's Creek. Watch your speeds through the construction area. Just keep it safe for everybody out there trying to get the work done. Beyond that, though, 101's in good shape all the way out to the Swim area. Beyond that, we're good with the Hood Canal Bridge. Currently, no scheduled openings this morning. Washington State ferries, yeah, they're doing okay. It's a busy day out there on the water, so they are running a little bit behind at Bainbridge and Edmond, so just plan on a little bit of a wait at the dock out there. West End traffic, really no issues. Traffic is moving along pretty well out there. Fairly busy, but right at the speed limit. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. If you'd like the sunshine and warm temperatures, you're going to like the weather forecast the next 10 days or so. It calls for sunny skies and things warming up. Going to be about 70 today. We'll start to get into the low 80s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then back into the mid to upper 70s for pretty much all of next week, with sunshine continuing. Right now it is sunny across the North Peninsula, 68 in Port Townsend now. It's also 68 in Sequim. And out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles, we're checking in at 70 degrees.
ABC Entertainment News.
Can't clean a house if you're about to blow it up.
Season 4 of The Morning Show is now set to premiere September 17th. The star-studded Apple TV Plus series finds the fictional news network dealing with a different office culture after a high-stakes corporate merger. There's also some new faces as Marion Cotillard and Jeremy Irons join the cast.
I will not let you destroy us. Shut up!
Ron Howard's next film, Eden, comes out this weekend. The director tells ABC Audio he was inspired on a trip to the Galapagos Islands by the true story of murder and survival among European settlers there.
The idea just stayed with me, and over time, it evolved to the point where I just felt like now is the moment.
I'm all right with a slow burn.
And happy birthday to Casey Musgraves. The slow burn singer, who has 8 Grammy Awards to her name, is turning 37 today. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We talk a lot about ultra-processed foods, and you know that they're not good for you. You also know that they are pretty irresistible, and they are chemically designed to be that way. Now, if you're trying to improve your health, instead of just cutting calories or cutting out food groups entirely or forcing yourself to eat things you don't enjoy, one thing you can do is simply try to eat cleaner. Beyond feeling better, you're more likely to live longer. That's according to a new meta-analysis out of Brazil that found this. For each 10% increase in total calories from ultra-processed foods, the risk of dying prematurely rose by nearly 3%. It's not easy. After all, an estimated 3/4 of the food here in the United States is ultra-processed one way or another. But if you ask me, seeking out real food is worth the extra effort for your body and your brain. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
DQ presents The Sound of Happy. Hear that? That's the DQ Chicken Strip Basket. Only $7.49 for a limited time. We're talking 4 100% white meat seasoned chicken strips served with fries, Texas toast, and DQ signature country gravy. Yeah, you heard that right. For crunch time and no time, it can only be the DQ Chicken Strip Basket. Just $7.49 for a limited time. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good at participating locations.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Do you have difficulties and adversities in your life? We all do, but certainly some have more than others. But do our difficulties have a positive purpose? I'll tell you that story after this important message. Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart. It's been over 20 years now since I started doing my radio programs. How did I get the idea to start it? 2 reasons. First, to remind us all where we've come from and our duty to make our great America even greater. My second reason, some in our nation today are trying hard to rewrite history with lies and half-truths, and that's wrong. Want to hear 70 of my favorite true stories on one CD? Call me now at 817-995-4607 and place your order. Or you can go online at www.jerrystewartusa.com. And the cost? Just $19.95 plus $6 shipping and handling, a total of $25.95. Place your order now, and I'll include with it my book, Saving America, at no additional charge. So call now at 817-995-4607 or go online at www.jerrystewartusa.com. Give us a call. Until then, tell the truth. God bless you. The history of America is full of hardships and adversities. It's been said that our American dream has been forged on the anvil of adversity. But do hardships and adversities have a positive purpose in our life? The answer is yes. It's during the hard times that we build character. It was First Lady Abigail Adams who said, "It is not in the still calm of life that great characters are formed. It is the greatest necessities of life that bring out our great virtues." And where do great virtues come from? Facing each hardship and with God's mighty help, walking through it. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Price Ford has red, white, and blue Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs ready to roll during the Ford for America sales event. Give 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days. If that's not enough, receive a 2-year complimentary maintenance plan on select Ford models. Come see Price Ford and take advantage of the 0% finance, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days during the Ford for America sales event. Price Ford, next to Walmart, always right on the price.
Hey there, Dawn Riding with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our 48th birthday, and you get the gifts. Outstanding savings on saltwater hot spring spas, free Bluetooth music, and interest-free financing for 3 years. Plus, exciting savings on endless pool swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges. How's that for a birthday to remember? Ends August 24th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. That's 800-561-6198.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The sound of strong wind at Jeanette's Pier on North Carolina's Outer Banks. There was little damage reported in the Outer Banks overnight from Hurricane Erin as that sprawling storm passed by. The National Hurricane Center's senior hurricane specialist, Jim Cangliosi, says this could be the final day that the Outer Banks feels the effects of Erin.
It'll continue at least for several hours today. Wind-wise for at least a few more hours, but for coastal flooding, rip current risk, that could continue for a little bit longer beyond that.
Several roads on the island, covered with sand, water, and debris, do remain closed, and the state's Emergency Management Agency has warned people to stay off the shoreline because the ocean is still extremely dangerous. Fortunately, there have been no fatalities reported due to Hurricane Erin. American and European Union officials have released a summary of their trade deal that imposes a 15% import tax on 70% of European goods exported to the United States. Correspondent Karen Chamas with that report.
The US and the EU have the largest bilateral trading relationship in the world, involving $2 trillion in annual transatlantic business. European officials have had to defend the deal against dismay from businesses and member governments and criticism that the EU gave away too much. Maros Sefcovic, the EU Trade Commissioner, said in a news conference,
"The alternative, a trade war with sky-high tariffs and political escalation."
Both the US and the EU have said that the document made public on Thursday was only a first step in a process that can be further expanded to cover additional areas. I'm Karen Chamas.
And on Wall Street, stocks remain lower, the Dow dropping 111 points. The Nasdaq is down 65. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but What I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
In consumer news, Walmart recalling its Great Value brand frozen shrimp. It could be radioactive.
The contamination was found in shipping containers and a sample of breaded shrimp, which were processed by a company doing business as BMS Foods of Indonesia. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials alerted the FDA that they found cesium-137 in shipping containers sent to U.S. ports in Los Angeles, Houston, Miami, and Savannah, Georgia, which were denied entry into the U.S. The FDA then learned that Walmart had received potentially affected products imported after the first detection from shipments that did not trigger contamination alerts. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Retired Providence, Rhode Island Municipal Court Judge Frank Caprio, who found online fame as host of Caught in Providence, died Tuesday. He was 88. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. An Oregon man has pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree manslaughter following a fatal crash with the softball team's bus.
Officials say Jonathan Dowdy has pled guilty to several counts of assault, 1 count of driving under the influence, and 1 count of driving with a suspended license. State police say Dowdy was driving his pickup last April when he crossed a center line and crashed into a bus loaded with 10 members of the Umpqua Community College softball team. A 19-year-old player and the team's head coach were killed. Jason Walker reporting.
As students start school this year, 17 states and the District of Columbia are imposing new cell phone restrictions. In total, 35 states have passed laws or rules to limit student phone use in schools. Some states have enacted full day bans, while others restrict phone use during class. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Thursday, August 21st. A second suspect has been arrested in the armed robbery of Frugal's restaurant in Port Angeles that happened last December. 59-year-old Burton Bill Brown is in custody after his arrest on August 19th north of Centralia on a warrant related to that Frugal's robbery. Back on December 5th, after closing time, Frugal's staff reported they were robbed at gunpoint by 2 men who had their faces covered. The guns were pointed at the 2 employees, forcing them into the bathroom. The suspects demanded one of the employees' vehicle keys and stole the vehicle to flee the scene. Now, the other suspect in the case, 36-year-old Anthony Lewis Reynolds, was arrested on June 21st. On his arrest on Tuesday, Brown was found to be in possession of suspected methamphetamine and a firearm. Brown is prohibited to have that because of prior convictions. He was processed and booked into the Lewis County Jail with fresh charges for possession of the firearm. That charge in Lewis County will be in addition to the charges in Clallam County related to the Frugal's robbery, including a couple of counts of robbery, 2 counts of kidnapping, theft, burglary, and theft of a motor vehicle. Olympic Medical Center has been granted a 5-week extension to the deadline that would have terminated its Medicare payments for noncompliance of 2 patient care standards. Hospital staff learned last Thursday, the day before the previous deadline, that federal health officials will now give them until September 20th to remedy the issues found in a routine State Department of Health survey. The report found OMC non-compliant in the areas of patient rights and nursing services, which are required for Medicare-approved hospitals. Termination of payments can be avoided if the hospital corrects the deficiencies and submits an acceptable plan of correction verified by the Department of Health. Last week, OMC's Bobby Stone told KONP, quote, during their recent visit, the Washington State Department of Health noticed significant improvements in our clinical documentation, and we feel confident that those remaining issues will be addressed during DOH's next visit. This week, Stone told us that, quote, we do not yet have our report from the Department of Health. We have 10 calendar days to respond to DOH with any needed corrective action plans. We value continuous improvement. We will continue to work closely and diligently with our regulators on these surveys, end quote. Column County Sheriff's Office has secured a $91,000 grant to help fund sex offender registration and monitoring. Sheriff Brian King told county commissioners this week the grant will cover multiple years and support oversight of about 170 registered offenders in the county. Monitoring is shared between the Sheriff's Office and local cities, with funding distributed based on the number of offenders each city oversees.
Really, it's every week you have changes in, whether it's a change in address, whether it's somebody just coming into the community to work. There's all these different requirements if you're going to be in our community for more than 3 days. And let's say it's a labor intensive, but it's a statutory function of our office. I mean, it's not something we can be relieved of. That's where we rely on the cities. I mean, we have the greatest number living in unincorporated Palm County. It really kind of aligns with the demographic makeup of our county as far as population goes.
Now, the Sheriff's Office evaluates offenders and assigns them a risk level that determines how often they must check in. Level 3 offenders, considered the highest, are monitored 4 times a year through home visits. Level 2 offenders are checked twice a year, while Level 1 offenders are contacted once a year. Transient offenders are required to check in weekly, and detectives are alerted immediately if someone fails to comply. More news after this.
Clallam PUD is now offering rebates on the purchase of Energy Star washers and dryers. Energy Star certified appliances save energy and money as they meet strict energy efficiency specifications. The rebates will be applied as a credit to your utility bill. Visit clallampud.net for more information or to submit an application. You will need to provide your purchase receipt. Clallam PUD, bringing energy to life.
Hi, this is John Holm, President of Tri-State Roofing, your local and family-owned company covering the entire Olympic Peninsula area. The difference with Tri-State Roofing is we separate ourselves with the quality of products we offer, customer service, including an A+ rating with the BBB, solid safety plans, and the best labor guarantees around. Call 360-208-2222.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
With more than 52 years of experience, Permabuilt designs post-frame buildings built to last. From barns and garages to workshops and storage, we create custom structures for any property, residential, farm, or commercial. Our team will work closely with you to match your goals and budget. Call 800-824-9552. That's 800-824-9552 or visit permabuilt.com to start planning today.
In other news, homelessness in Washington state continued to rise this past year, but at a slower pace, according to new data from the State Department of Commerce and the annual point-in-time count. The January 30th PIT count found 22,173 people experiencing homelessness statewide, excluding King County's population. The total marked a 4.5% increase from 2024 and a 25% rise since 2022. Commerce's broader snapshot report, which includes King County, estimated 159,000 people were unhoused or in emergency shelters, up about 2% from last year. There are 3 new police canine teams on the Olympic Peninsula. Port Angeles Police Officer Emery and her canine Solo, PAPD Officer McKnight and his canine Freddie, and Squim PD Officer Johnson and his canine Dutch have now joined PAPD Officer Fairbanks and her canine Cooper. The new canine teams are the results of months of training over this past spring and summer. Each canine officer and dog completed over 400 hours of training and passed a Washington State certification test. The canine teams used in situations where they're most suitable as a resource. That would include searches for felony and potentially violent fugitives, building searches, and for support during other high-risk operations. They are trained and certified in obedience, tracking, building, and area searches, article searches, handler protection, and criminal apprehension. By the way, the next time you talk with one of the canine officers locally, you can ask them for a canine team trading card. For the second straight day, activists staged a protest on Microsoft's campus yesterday, demanding the company cut ties with the Israeli government over its technology's alleged use by the Israeli military. Chanting, "We will not stop, we will not rest until you divest." Protesters set up an encampment in a recently renovated plaza on the Redmond campus. The demonstration lasted about an hour before Redmond police ordered the group to leave. 18 protesters were arrested on charges, including trespassing, resisting arrest, and malicious mischief, according to police. A La Niña watch has been issued for the Pacific Northwest, signaling a possible shift in weather patterns later this year. The National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center says there's a 56% chance La Niña conditions could develop by fall or early winter. Currently, the region remains in a neutral pattern with sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific near average. If La Niña forms, it could bring cooler, wetter conditions. Good news for snowpack, which has been below average in recent years. Snow water equivalents in spring this year were just 67% of normal in most of the areas. Forecasters note the pattern may return to neutral, though, later in winter next year. But for now, snow enthusiasts have some reason for cautious optimism heading into the colder months. This is Newsradio KONP.
Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears. Come out to Olympic Game Farm for some tender love and care. Now it's not impolite to stick out your tongue, considering the critters you'll be among. Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears. The llama and the yak know you want to come back, and the tiger always gets a few stares. Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Clallam County Commissioner Randy Johnson joins the Assessor's Office team to talk about upcoming property value notices going out. Realtor May Graves will be with us with local real estate trends, and Kevin Holt has your latest business bits.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
The Ramsey Show.
Not one piece of data says that where you went to school indicates your increased probability of success.
That's right.
Not one. Lots of failures at life. Went to Harvard, to Yale, went to MIT.
That's true.
And they completely flunked out at life. I went to that school, and because they played football well, I am successful. What?
Catch The Ramsey Show from 2 to 4 Monday through Friday on your local information station, Newsradio KONP.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of 70. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 56. Tonight, mainly clear. Tomorrow, highs level off around 76. Temperatures well above average Saturday and Sunday with highs in the upper 70s. A peek at the extended shows, 76 Monday, 76 Tuesday, and 74 on Wednesday. Another look at the short range. We should top out at 70 today. Lows level off around 56 tonight. High of 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 67.
Gonna check on sports with Robert Workman next.
Baseball Wednesday, the Rockies top the Dodgers 8-3. Shohei Ohtani's first career start at Coors Field, a forgettable one. 9 hits and 5 runs allowed in 4 innings. Padres pounded the Giants 8-1. Gavin Sheets with 2 of San Diego's 4 homers. Phillies flamed the Mariners 11-2. Trey Turner had 5 hits. Kyle Schwarber hit his 45th homer. That's second in the majors. Seattle has lost 5 straight. Yankees dropped the Rays 6-4 in 10 innings. Giancarlo Stanton with a pinch hit, 2-run tater in extras.
Facts, how to, test your mind, test your body, test everything for the situation. It's not always going to go well, but at least you can make adjustments and figure it out.
New York hit 14 homers in the 2-game set. They've now won 5 in a row. Shea Langalier's 2-run shot in the 10th lifted the A's over the Twins 4-2. Diamondbacks rally past the Guardians 3-2 in 10 innings. Pirates stripped the Blue Jays 2-1, all of the scoring in the first inning. Kyle Higashioka broke open a tie game in the 9th with a bases-clearing double, and the Rangers beat the Royals 6-3. Tigers completed their sweep of the Astros 7-2 in a possible playoff preview. Cubs got by the Brewers 4-3 to inch a little closer in the NL Central. Wins for the Braves, Marlins, Nationals, and Angels. NFL preseason week 3 begins tonight. The final games before they count. Opening night 2 weeks from tonight. College football kicks off on Saturday with 5 games. And golf's FedEx Cup champion will be crowned at the Tour Championship. That begins today in Atlanta. That's Thursday Sports.
Campfires, road trips, late night stories, and early morning hikes. During RV Country's Labor Day sales event, your next adventure is waiting for you. Choose from a huge selection of new and used RVs perfect for families big or small. Trade in your old RV, get easy on-the-spot financing, and check out our Labor Day deals. Like this 2025 Odyssey for $568 a month, or this 2025 Little Buggy for $172 a month. The adventure of a lifetime is waiting for you at all RV Country locations.
When you need surgery, timing is everything. At Olympic Medical Center, our skilled general surgery team is here for you 24 hours a day, ensuring you get the care you need. From planned procedures like hernia repairs to emergencies like appendectomies and even full trauma care, we're ready. Meet our dedicated local team and learn more about our comprehensive services at olympicmedical.org/general surgery.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis.
800-932-5112. 800-932-5112. 800-932-5112. That's 800-932-5112.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, all the major averages are down about 0.3% right now, ahead of Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's speech tomorrow in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and after a better-than-forecast report on U.S. manufacturing this month is raising worries about inflation. That could mean no rate cut from the Fed in September. Shares of Walmart this hour down about 5%. That's after missing its profit forecast for last quarter on higher insurance, restructuring, and tariff costs. Sales were higher, and its outlook is solid. Contracts to buy homes in July canceled at a record rate. A lot of would-be buyers nervous about the enormous cost. The slowing job market and the uneven economy got cold feet. Redfin says about 58,000 pending home sales, agreements that were made, hadn't been finalized, fell through last month. And just in time for college kids to head back to school, Chipotle has teamed up with Urban Outfitters on a new burrito-inspired dorm room decor collection of bedding, beanbag chairs, and more. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the noontime traffic next.
Are you tossing and turning every night, waking up with pains you know shouldn't be there? Most likely, the culprit is your bed. And right now at Angela's Furniture, during the Labor Day event, you can fix that with huge savings on a new mattress. Save up to $500 on a new Sealy, up to $700 on a new Tempur-Pedic, or up to $800 off a Stearns & Foster mattress. Save yourself from extra aches and pains during the Labor Day mattress event, going on now through September 9th at Angela's Furniture.
This month at Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales in Sequim, pick up an SW21 skid steer and get a 16-foot car hauler free. That's nearly $5,600 back in your pocket. Need more muscle? The SW28 skid steer comes with an 18-foot car hauler, free, over $6,000 in savings. And for the big jobs, the ST45 track loader includes a 20-foot dovetail equipment trailer, free, almost $7,700 of value. Built tough, priced right. Only this month at Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales in Sequim.
News Radio KONP. Traffic and roads.
All right, up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go now. That's where Steve's standing by with one last look at our noontime road conditions for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, a little bit of a busy afternoon out there if you're in Port Angeles or Sequim and trying to make your way around. Really not too bad considering the amount of vehicles that are out there right now, but traffic is moving along fairly well. A few places where there's some slowdowns with traffic lights and things like that, but overall you shouldn't have much problem making a way around town. If you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Sequim, busy out there, but you want to be careful through our slowdown areas at Baker Dip and Lee's Creek. Just be careful. Watch your speeds to those construction zones. Keep everybody safe. Beyond that, though, you should be just fine right up to the speed limit all the way into Sequim. Beyond the Sequim area, Hood Canal Bridge is good to go currently. Nothing scheduled, at least for openings. Washington State ferries are doing okay. They are running a little bit late up in Edmonds, Kingston area, Seattle Paine Bridge as well, but shouldn't cause you too much of a wait at the dock. If you're headed on beyond that towards the Forks area, we're looking good all the way out there. Nice roads, good weather. Things moving right along at the speed limit. So everybody take care, be safe. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, in New York City, a new lawsuit blaming 2 construction companies for causing the deaths of 5 people and leaving more than 100 others sick with Legionnaire's disease in Harlem. The lawsuit alleges the companies failed to properly clean stormwater from cooling towers at Harlem Hospital. The city of New York also being named in that lawsuit. The disease is caused by a bacteria typically found in building cooling towers. ABC's Sunny Saltzman explains who's most at risk.
If you are young and healthy, it's less likely to cause you to die, but people who have underlying medical conditions, people who are older, this can be really dangerous. It is treatable. Because this is a bacteria, you can treat it with antibiotics, but because the symptoms can be so vague for such a long time, people often aren't getting that treatment fast enough.
Health experts offering new details about sleep inertia. That's when you wake up feeling groggy, sluggish, and moody. ABC's Michelle Franzen with more.
Doctors say those moments when you just want to go back to bed or can't seem to function throughout the day is known as sleep inertia. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton says there are ways to combat the effects.
Avoid hitting the snooze button. I know we all love that snooze button, but sometimes that can worsen that feeling of confusion. Also, once you wake up, exposing yourself to bright light and sound, although the studies are mixed, it can help if you experience it.
He also recommends plenty of sleep, at least 7 hours for adults and 12 hours for children. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
15 years ago, Americans began doing what we've done best for 250 years. We began a rebellion, cutting the cord, dumping cable and satellite out of anger. Being forced to pay for bundles of channels we didn't want was over. But now, a new battle. Bundling is trying for a major comeback. I'm Kim Commando. Nearly 1 million people already get my 5-star rated newsletter, The Current. Smart, fast, and free. Go to getkim.com. Instead of signing up for streaming channels individually, Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, and even YouTube are asking you to sign up with them. They're actually selling their competitors, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, and MGM Plus. Prime is even selling their competitor, Apple Plus. Meanwhile, Apple wants to sell you Stars, Discovery, and others. So what gives? It's simple. All the agreements are finally in place, and everyone can now share your streaming dollars, just like it was with cable and satellite. Sign up for my free newsletter right now at getkim.com. In business, they say you can have better, cheaper, or faster, but you only get to pick 2. But what if you could have all 3 at the same time? That's exactly what some of the world's most innovative brands and AI tech companies have since they've upgraded to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. OCI is the blazing fast platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you can run any workload in a high availability, consistently high performance environment and spend less than you would with other clouds. So how is it faster? OCI's block storage gives you more operations per second. Cheaper? OCI costs up to 50% less for computing, 70% less for storage, and 8% less for networking. Better? And test after test, OCI customers report lower latency and higher bandwidth versus other clouds. This is the cloud built for AI and all your biggest workloads. Right now, with zero commitment, try OCI for free. Head to oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim.
This is Newsradio KONP.
Best Friends Animal Society is working to ensure that every dog and cat has a safe place to call home. Visit bestfriends.org to adopt an out-of-this-world pet near you. Together, we will save them all.
I'm John Tesh. Coming up, pets can feel the same loss we do when another pet in the household dies, and they mourn. I'll share just how strong a dog's emotional ties are next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
If you've started thinking about what to wear this fall, your timing is perfect because Macy's Fall Preview event has early deals on looks everyone will be wearing. Romantic dresses from BCBG and Avec Les Filles, Western-inspired boots and bags from Steve Madden, all 25% off. Plus, take 15 to 25% off fall beauty from Yves Saint Laurent, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. Don't wait. This fall preview won't be around for long. So come into Macy's today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
So here's something dogs and humans have in common. It's now been proven that dogs can mourn just like humans do after a loved one passes away. According to the journal Scientific Reports, a whopping 86% of pet parents reported seeing negative changes in a dog's behavior after another dog in the same household died. The surviving dogs ate less, they played less often, and sought more attention from their human companions. Researchers say because domestic dogs have coexisted with humans for so long, they've adapted strong emotional bonds, both to us and to their fellow dogs. So what can you do to help a dog recover emotionally after a loved one dies? Experts say the most important thing is to stick with your normal feeding and walking routines because routines are extremely comforting to pets and they help send the message that everything is okay. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Clallam County Commissioner Randy Johnson joins the Assessor's Office team to talk about upcoming property value notices going out. Realtor May Graves will be with us with local real estate trends, and Kevin Holt has your latest business bits.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
This is James Garlick, Co-Artistic Director of Music on the Straight, inviting you and your family to 2 exciting concerts at Field Hall on Monday, September 1st and Saturday, September 6th. Both shows feature world-renowned pianist Jeremy Denk in concert with some of the best musicians from around the country. Families are warmly welcome and kids are only $5.
To learn more and get your tickets for Music on the Straight, visit musiconthestraight.org. Get there early for pre-concert activities including full bar and food.
Thank you for 80 incredible years. This is News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A Joint Task Force spokesperson says just under 2,000 National Guard troops are now mobilized by President Trump's federal takeover of local police in Washington, D.C. President Trump now expected to get a first-hand look at the patrols.
President Trump said in a radio interview Thursday he is, quote, going out with police and military in Washington, D.C. tonight. It comes as his administration has ordered a surge of federal law enforcement and National Guard to respond to what the president says is a crime emergency in the district. The White House hasn't provided details of where he'll go and what he'll do. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
A New York appeals court threw out a $500 million civil fraud judgment against President Trump and his family business. The panel upheld the ruling, finding the Trump organization inflated the value of its assets. ABC's Aaron Katursky says the case is not over yet.
The decision is still appealable. In other words, there is a remedy that New York Attorney General Letitia James can seek to try and reinstate that penalty, and she says she's going to do that with New York's highest court. But for now, the president is certainly taking this as a win.
After battering North Carolina's Outer Banks, Hurricane Erin is still posing a threat up and down the eastern seaboard. Beaches are closed in New York City, and New Jersey's governor today declared a state of emergency. ABC's Brian Clark is at the Jersey shore.
Rip currents, invisible but potentially deadly, are a main concern all summer long here in Belmar, New Jersey. But today, the dangers of the ocean are clearly visible. Massive waves fueled by Hurricane Erin. Even though the storm is hundreds of miles away, that has not stopped officials up and down the New Jersey shore from closing beaches.
The White House announced the U.S. and European Union have reached a tentative deal on some key imports, including alcohol, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals, all facing 15% tariffs. On Wall Street, stocks ended lower today. You're listening to ABC News.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Israeli Defense Forces say the IDF has started its next military push into Gaza City as it tries to defeat Hamas and secure the release of remaining hostages. It comes as Israeli reservists are being called up to occupy the city, home to hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The countdown is on for the latest launch of the military's not-so-secret unmanned space plane.
The Boeing-built X-37B will launch from Florida as soon as tonight. Its last mission ended in March after more than 400 days of quietly cruising around Earth. This mission, its 8th, will test technology needed to explore deep space. The spaceplane looks like a smaller version of the now-retired space shuttle with no windows. Whenever it returns, it'll glide to a landing like the space shuttle did.
ABC's Lionel Moise. Conservative minister James Dobson has died.
James Dobson was an evangelical minister and founder of the group Focus on the Family, which gave him a platform to draw more conservative Christians into politics. He spoke out strongly against abortion and pornography and was against laws banning so-called conversion therapy for gay youth. Dobson served on a board of evangelicals who've advised President Trump during his first term and said on his radio program in 2022, whether you like Donald Trump or not, if you are supportive of the Dobbs decision that struck down Roe v. Wade, you have to mention in the same breath the man who made it possible.
ABC's Sherry Preston. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Your enjoyment starts now with all the colors of the season at everyone's favorite haven, Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operations continue as Betsy and Mark Matthews lovingly run the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service and products for a fun pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items like Full Moon Candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B Apiary Honey. And we love helping you plan each season by offering monthly special savings. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop on by the store on Edgewood Drive. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. A second suspect now in custody for the armed robbery at Frugal's in Port Angeles last December. 59-year-old Burton Bill Brown of Centralia was arrested this week on a warrant tied to the case. Police say Brown had a gun and suspected meth on him at the time of his arrest. He's facing multiple charges now in both Lewis and Clallam counties. His alleged accomplice in the heist at Frugal's, Anthony Reynolds, was arrested back in June. Forecasters are watching the Pacific. A La Nina watch is in effect, with more than a 50% chance conditions could develop by fall. That will mean cooler, wetter weather for the Northwest and a stronger snowpack this winter.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 70. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 56. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 76. Tomorrow, ample sunshine expected. Dry with temperatures well above average. Saturday and Sunday, and highs in the upper 70s. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 76 Monday, 76 Tuesday, and 74 on Wednesday. To recap, 70 today, 56 tonight, 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 70.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. Lots to cover today. In the first half, we're going to talk about something that nobody really likes to get, but you're going to be getting it soon if you have a piece of property here in Clallam County, and that is the property. The notice of value statements are coming out from the auditor's office, and we're going to talk a bit about that and how that all transcribes into things with the assessor herself, Pam Rushton here. Pam, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
I wasn't expecting to have you here today, so I get the actually elected one in.
Thanks for having
and
us.
Lori Coos, who's been with how long have you been at the assessor's office? Forever?
A little over 36 years.
Yeah. So she's kind of the right-hand person in all of these doings as well. And we also welcome County Commissioner Randy Johnson in to kind of give a perspective from the Commissioner's office, too.
Thank
Randy,
you.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Pam, I'm going to go to you first. Let's just talk about, it's that time of year. Pretty soon these things are going to be showing up in the mailbox, and I jokingly said, we're going to get everybody angst up because this is when they open it up and they go, my property's worth that?
Yes.
Right?
And we're pretty stable right now with the property values, and we're probably, overall, the entire county, we're probably increasing less than 5%.
Okay.
So it's more stable than it's been in the past.
Yeah, so give me a kind of how it had been, though, up until this point. I mean, we had some pretty tremendous jumps going on
We
for a
have
while,
had
right?
in the past up to probably 20% in some areas.
Okay.
So we're seeing it stabilize a little bit. I think interest rates have done that a little bit because people are not getting out of their 2.5% interest mortgages to go into a 6 or 7% mortgage. So they're staying in their homes. We're not seeing that, they're not bidding on homes anymore. They're not paying more than what they should be in most cases, and we saw that happening for many years where they were paying premium prices for these places.
And so that's a big part of this, too. As frustrating as it is, this is supposed to be based on real market value.
Absolutely.
And so if you have a hot market like that, even if you're in a house you've lived in for 20 plus some years,
You're going to see value increases, yes, because
Right.
we have to value everybody as if they could sell it today on January 1st of the lien year, which is the lien year is the assessment year versus the tax year. So that's a little confusing for people sometimes because we value property as of January 1st of 25 for taxes paid in 26. That's why you get your valuation notice of value in September, October, but you don't pay your taxes till February. Usually February is the bigger influx of questions because that's the actual dollar amounts that they're paying.
right, that's when the treasurer starts asking for money.
Yes, yes.
So-
for all districts too,
Yeah.
not just the county. That's another confusing thing because we do send out tax bills for all of
Everything, right,
every
yeah.
district, and it's not just the county. The county is a very small portion of your actual taxes.
All right, Pam, you've been at this for a long, long time as well, and we were in real estate before that, so you
Yes,
kind of got an idea of this. Is Clallam County overvalued, undervalued at this point? I mean, what would you say?
Well, our last year, I think we were right around 92% for our ratio, and that means that the state, that's our report card from the state.
Okay.
That's why I always consider it. We take the assessed value versus the sales amounts, and there's a ratio involved in there. And we're supposed to be at 100%. I'll be honest, we're always pretty conservative because I don't want to anticipate the market increasing more than what it actually has. And like I said, we're using historical information prior to the lien date. So the information we might be using to value your home is prior to that January 1st of 2025 lien date for 25 value for 26 taxes.
Right, explain how assessments are done these days. We talk about this all the time, but how many properties every year are actually physically looked at, and then how do you make up the rest of those?
We do about a physical inspection of about 8,000 a year.
Okay.
We have appraisers that are on our staff that actually go out and physically inspect. We use all the tools available to us. Today we have some more technology that we didn't have years ago. We have really fine-tuned aerials. We have hired a company to do a street view where they actually do a drive-by in areas of, more the incorporated
It's really in
areas.
for denser areas.
Yes, much
correct?
denser
Yeah,
areas.
so-
Because
explain a bit about that, because we covered that when this first came about. I guess it's now, this might be the first, sequence that you're using this
we
now?
did, and
Okay.
it was in the Port Angeles area because we were in what we consider Reval 5, which is the Port Angeles and just the small areas outside of it. So it's very dense areas.
Mm-hmm.
So those street views were very, very good for us to be able to use because you can look at them from your desk to see if you really need to do a more thorough physical inspection or if we are pretty much the same as it was.
If I understood this right, it's kind of like a Google Map car in a way, right?
It really is. They're more complex than that. 'Cause
Right.
they're very good pictures and you can see where you were at in this timestamp when they were taken.
And specifically, this allows you then to see if somebody is, and I'm thinking like Port Angeles might be an ADU that's been added to a piece of property that you may not have seen
and may not have gotten the building permit for it yet. Or, and Port Angeles is pretty good because most people do get building permits outside the areas. The aerials are very helpful because we can see when things were built that may or may not have gotten a building permit.
Now, I have asked you this in the past as well, catching up on those types of things to get values, increased value, property value. Mm-hmm. Have you caught up? I mean,
It's a constant catch up.
Okay.
It's a work in progress is what I'll tell you at all times because we're doing the best we can with the limited staff we have to work with.
Right.
They can only take on so much workload and do a really thorough job. So I will admit that we're less thorough than we used to be. When I was appraising back in the field, I walked around every house. Mm-hmm. And measured, one side of the house or maybe two sides of the house. We don't have the ability to do that anymore. There's just too much work to be done to be able to measure every house every year.
Now, there's some, legal requirements for you on some of this. So how lax, I use that in terms, can you be and still be, legally
We still do the
it.
physicals. We still do physical inspections, and a lot of times we won't get out of the car if there doesn't look like there's been any changes. It's just a depreciation factor, whether they've brought the house up, done some repairs or improvements outside, new windows, new roofs, new siding, new painting. That's more of a depreciation factor. If there's anything added on or taken away, it's always important for people to understand, too, we don't always know when you remove something. So it's important for you to come into our office and do a destroyed property.
All right. And that happens quite a bit. I mean, there's some people that actually will see that valuation go down.
Yes. If they've just taken a shop or something, they've lost it in a storm, there is some specific laws that go along with that. If it is a Mother Nature that took it away, like a storm or a tree or whatever, it prorates at the time of the destruction. But if you self-destruct, I always recommend people get it done before the first of the year, because if it's on the rolls January 1st and you didn't remove it, you will be paying taxes on it at 26, and there's nothing I can do about that. That's the law.
Okay.
So just so people know, those are
So there you go.
timelines.
You got a tip. You're taking down your shop, do it now.
Do it now. And I always say that when people come in and say, I'm going to remove that shop, I say, get it done before the first of the year.
All right. You use a lot of various, I guess some of the same tools real estate agents do, comps, that sort of thing as well to come up with value,
Absolutely, yeah. We look at all the sales that are coming through. We can go up to 5 years backwards. We haven't needed to in the last several years because there's been enough activity. There are some areas that have less activity. West End, Clallam Bay, they have a limited sample supply for us to make good determinations on that. So we're probably a little more lenient in those areas because we have less data to work off of. But we do modeling, as far as what the market is doing. So we'll follow that, and we'll do annual updates that way.
Okay. So Port Angeles, did I hear you right? Port Angeles was your area this year that got the physical inspection.
Mm-hmm.
What's next then? Does it just go?
It goes to the west end.
To the west.
Yeah.
Okay.
We start out in Sequim as Revale 1. The outskirts of Sequim in between are Revale 2. Then you have Revale 3, which is more just the outskirts of Port Angeles here. And then you got Port Angeles, which is the Port Angeles proper, and just a little ways on the outskirts. And then you start farther west, Joyce, almost all the way to the Bogus Shield is Revale 6.
All right. It's how many? There's a lot of properties out there to try to get to.
We have about 57,000 properties, about 46,000 taxable properties. There's a lot of exempt properties. Lots of different kinds of exemptions. You've got government exemptions, tribal exemptions, senior exemptions. We have a lot of property in some kind of a current use exemption. So those don't pay up to full price or none, depending on what the exemption is. DOR exemptions. There's a lot of exemptions that happen. So that 10 or 12,000 properties are properties we have on the tax rolls, but are exempt from taxes.
All right. Well, speaking of exemptions, I'll talk to Lori maybe a little bit about this. Tell us about that, because there are things. My mom has a senior citizen exemption. Explain to folks there are some things they can come see you about if they have questions, or they might be able to actually not have to pay on some of their property value.
Yes, absolutely. So senior exemption, the state sets the maximum income level that you can receive. $46,000 is the maximum right now. That does include some non-taxable items, which confuses people at times because they think that what their tax return says is what they really should be reporting. Oftentimes, Social Security is not taxed. That gets added back into the disposable income. If you're not sure, just come let us calculate your income. We'll tell you if you qualify or not. You can apply anytime during the year. We're always looking at the prior year's income for the following year's tax. You have to be 61 or older to apply, so you actually receive the exemption when you're 62. And let's see, it's senior or disabled. So if you are disabled, it's the same exemption. You just have to, prove disability and show us your income, and we'll get you signed up if you qualify.
And the state law changed a bit with the exemption levels. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it may be different for folks that it actually is lowered.
There's three levels. to
There's
the
now,
program.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And they do look at that. They keep track of the median income of the counties. So every county is not going to have the same income levels that every other county looks at. And they look at that, I believe, every 3 years. Now, that's one of the changes in the law. 'Cause
Okay.
It was 5. Last year, they brought it down to 3 because the income levels were changing so
Right.
rapidly.
With the demographics that we have here in Clallam County, do you have a lot of exemption level?
We do. We have about 25 to 2,800 properties on having the
Okay.
exemption, different
Yes.
levels. If you look at our existing data, that some of those are not going to show because we remove them and have them read up every year because they have varying income. What has happened to us in the past was when we do our audits, we go back to the last time you actually verified your income, and we were finding people weren't reporting the changes in between. So we're trying to not send out these $3,000 to $8,000 bills of back taxes because you now have changed levels. So we recommend if you have any variation in your income during that time period, come in every year. It only takes us a minute to look at it.
Okay.
We'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't like to send those bills out to people that didn't report. One of the most common ones is they either got married or divorced, a spouse passed away, or one of the spouses started collecting Social Security in that period of time that had not been audited, and they forgot to come in and tell us.
Okay.
So I have to go back and adjust their valuation based off of their income. So.
I guess one of the good news, there's a 3-year period now instead of 5. I mean, that could have been a larger hit.
Well, we still are auditing.
Right.
And our audits, we're a little short in our audits right now. Our office has been closed because we're short on staff. So those are taking a little longer to keep up with. But the 3 years is for the median income, which changes from the state level.
All right. Let's talk about, we get one of these lovely letters from your office, and you go, wait a minute, I don't think that's right. So what do we do? I mean, Lori's somebody that you'd see about that. And both of you can jump in on this, but what should we do if this value looks extremely off?
First thing I would say is get a hold of our office. We will typically put you in touch with the appraiser that physically inspects that area. They love to go over the property record with you. It's really our goal to have things accurate. So they'll go over the property record. We're happy to, give them some more knowledge around what the market is doing. We're always shocked at what the values come out to because of what the market is doing. But we're required by law to be at 100% fair market value. So that's what we strive to do. That keeps things fair and equitable as long as everybody across the board is close to market. But definitely come in or give us a call, and we will put you in touch with your appraiser. They'll go over the record. If there's any corrections to be made, we're happy to make them.
And what is the process? If you discover that something was maybe appraised incorrectly, you go through this because mistakes can happen. So what happens?
Sure,
What's the process after that to get that changed officially?
So, and it depends on when that error occurred. We can go back up to 3 years by law. So say there was a square foot error of 200 square feet, just for an example. Then we will correct that record 3 years back. We will send that over to the treasurer's office. It takes a little time because it's all done electronically, and they're done in batches. All changes are done in batches, but they will send a revised tax statement if there's a portion of taxes still due for that year. And then they will receive a refund if a refund is due.
All right. Pam, you encourage people to come in if you got a question about it either way, right?
Absolutely. Everything's online, so we have people, it's better now than it used to be because they can check their own online information. But if there's a question about what we've looked at or what we've done, we're very willing to answer those questions and go over your detail with you. We don't want things incorrect. I mean, yeah.
How much is this I'll use the word sticker shock just because people don't really realize what the market might be. I'm not shopping my house around. I'm
Right.
perfectly fine. I'm not really looking at what the value of is aside from what you tell me it is every year.
I don't think it's as bad as it used to be because for what, 10, 12 years, we've been sending out notices every year to everybody.
Mhm.
So they've continually seen the changes. I think that's helped people understand how it varies. But if there's ever a question, we want them to come in. We could make a zero error by inputting.
Sure.
We check for that before we send them out. But, it happens. We're dealing with thousands of properties and billions of dollars. So if there's an error, we want that error corrected. We never want to value your property incorrectly. That's not our intention. We don't raise values because the county's looking for more money. I hear this a lot. This is a budget-driven system. The county doesn't get any more money just because your value went up. That doesn't work that way.
Explain that a bit too, because we've talked on this show as well. I mean, it's easy for me, the layperson, to go, well, say exactly that.
Yeah, we
but
hear
it
that
really
a
is it's a set pie. I mean, all of the levy levels are set.
They
right?
are, actually, unless they go out to the voter for an increase,
Right.
which is something that's been happening pretty regularly with most of your taxing districts because that limitation of 1% does not keep up with inflation. I can give you a small example of a small fire district on the west end. A 1% doesn't even fill up a diesel tank to show up at a fire. So that 1% is very limited. But they are all limited by 1% plus new construction every year unless they go out to the vote of the people. Unless they have some bank capacity, which we only have a couple of districts that have any bank capacity, and that's capacity that they had in the past that they didn't use. So that doesn't happen very often, but otherwise it's really a fairly neutral amount because it is a budget-driven system. They're limited on their actual budgets for revenue that they can receive from taxes. So that's part of the, you'll hear that a lot. 1% does not keep up with inflation. At least it hasn't been. I can't say, it won't in the future. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's tough when you had inflation at 9%, which we've seen a few years ago, and all of your districts were limited to 1% because all of their costs still go up, just like yours and mine.
But so what folks need to know is that, mine went up. Most of that was, though, because of voter-approved increases in the take, so to speak, from an independent district, school district, fire district, hospital district, that sort of thing, right?
Some people got hit pretty hard because there was a school
I had a triple whammy on
Yes.
mine last year,
You
so
had
there you go.
a school district, you had a hospital district, and you had a fire district in a lot of cases in this last area that we're at that all went to their maximum statutory limitations.
Right. So this next coming one, then, for those folks, probably going to see a lot of change then.
They won't see a lot of change. They're, I'm trying to think of the ones that have gone out for levy lift. Fire District 3 just went out for a levy lift. So those people in that area of that tax code area will see some changes. I believe the school district this year, their bond goes into effect, which is very similar to what their capital project. So you may not see a whole lot of difference there, but it will be a different figure and a different levy. Okay. So, every levy individually is different.
All right. Explain to me this one thing. And I know this is just the way capitalism works. I take my my valuation you give me, and I take it to a bank, and they'll tell me, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you a loan for that much."
That doesn't happen very often, but
yeah,
it did when we were decreasing values in the 2008 when the crash happened. We did see. I had people come in and say, "You just took away my equity." We were just following what the market was doing. Right. It doesn't happen very often that the bank will say.
No.
That we're overvaluing them. In those circumstances, they usually have a fee appraisal done. We'll look at the fee appraisal. We'll look at any information they bring to us. If we think that their comparable properties that they're using to value your property are better than our comparables, we'll make the adjustments.
Okay, it's a good point. So if you ran into something like that, and it was a way off, this would be a chance. You should come talk to you about it.
Absolutely. And then they have the option to go to the Board of Equalization. And then if they're not happy with the determination there, they have the option to go to the Board of Tax Appeals. Okay. So there's several options people have if they think that we've incorrectly valued their property.
All right, real quick, and then I'm going to get Randy's take to wrap it up here in just a minute. But these letters going out, when should we expect seeing our valuations?
We're trying to push that a little bit forward from what we've had in the past. We've had it in October in the past. We're going to try to hit it in September this year. That Cyclomedia helped us do our inspections a little bit faster. So we're hoping to get those values out here in the next month.
All right. I'll be curious to see. I mean, with the way the market has changed and just exactly what that looks like compared to the last number of years.
Right. Well, and the market, like I said, has been more stabilized this year than we've seen in the past, which is kind of nice for us because we're not having to make those, 10 and 20% increases.
Right.
We are doing some reallocation of value. We're trying to get the land values more accurate because we were finding that land values we were fairly low on. So what that means is the land value of your portion of your property may have gone up, but you may have seen a decrease in your overall.
So the ratio of what land to what's built on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we don't want to be over 100% of your value for the total package, but we're trying to work really hard to get our land accurate.
Why is that important? I mean, if it's basically going to be the same valuation.
Because the state says we have to report them separately.
Okay. That's all I needed to hear. All right. Randy, this is, I'm sure your phone rings when these things happen, even though it's coming from the assessor's office, but this is, this is part of the doing business for government.
Yeah, what to say.
Like it or not, right.
Well, the first thing they will do is call and say, oh my God, look what happened to my assessed value. And what are you going to do about this? And thank goodness Lori and Pam have been very good. Where I can, if it's a more technical question, I send them to, obviously, to their office to answer all the questions. The B part of it is always trying to explain, okay, your value went up, but if you take a look at your real tax, excluding, of course, where levy lifts have gone in, or like the school bonds, then that's separate. And, so I went back and looked recently at my property taxes, probably no different than you. And I said, well, let's take a look. And I've had this issue with people coming in the county commissioner's office. Let's pull up your tax return for 2020 to 2025 and take a look at what's actually happened, item by item. Oh, well, gee, school district 121, that's Port Angeles. In 2020, it was this number. And in 2025, the citizens voted for that, including me. I mean, full disclosure, I thought we need to put more money in schools. But that's where the biggest jump occurred by far in my tax returns in that period of time. What else went up? Hospital district. Let's take a look. The citizens again voted for that. And no doubt. And so there's where the increase is. But when I go to things like the general fund for the county, my actual amount I pay for the general fund 2020 to 2025 has dropped by almost $100. That's great, except how am I going to pay my police force, our police force, to end law and justice and all the other things. Let's go to some of the other junior taxing districts, and some of those have also decreased the same period of time. So if there was not a levy lift, then actual taxes that I pay for that function have decreased. But trying to explain to everyone, let me see, here we have, Clallam County General Fund, School District 121, Port, Fire District, North Olympic Library District, et cetera, and you have to go and spend time and actually pay attention to what that total amounts to, right? So, and again, when I looked at the actual numbers I paid, which were about $4,900 in 2020, and today it's about $6,800, almost the entirety of that are things that we, the citizens, voted on, and school district and fire district and hospital district. So all that said, that's great to explain to someone. I still send them to Pam if possible.
I don't have your job, Pam.
I absolutely love to sit down with people and explain that situation to them, because then they walk out of my office understanding the tax system a lot better than they did when they came in. And even though they're not particularly caring for their tax bill, because we all have to pay taxes, they understand how we did the calculations, what is causing the changes in your taxes. So my door is always open. I invite anybody to come in and talk to us.
And the second half is, how do you explain the assessed value went from, $100 to $110, and yet my taxes didn't go up at all? So.
I've had that happen too. Yeah.
All right. And then there's some other things we were talking before we went on. My escrow thing that my mortgage company takes out. Insurance took up a huge chunk of that after I
And
carved that out. I went, oh my.
That's another thing I always tell people too, is to make sure they contact their escrow companies, because if your values or your taxes, you're seeing your taxes go up, you're going to see a shortage in your escrow accounts.
Right.
And I always warn people of that, because they don't get that shortage till quite a while after the fact.
Yeah, and then there's you got to catch up one way or the other.
Well, and the shortage is the shortage for last year plus the shortage for the following year. So it's kind of a double whammy on your escrow accounts. So I always let people know that this could change your escrow account significantly, because it's a 2-year catch up.
All right. Another good piece of advice
Yeah.
from Pam Rushton, the assessor for Clallam County. Lori Coos from the assessor's office as well. Lori, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in. And Randy Johnson, County Commissioner, thanks for bringing these guys in. We'll talk about that lovely letter that's going to be showing up. Not as angstful maybe as the February one that has the bill
more,
with it, right?
We see more activity on that one.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Bathfitter is celebrating 42,000 installations in Western Washington by offering you monthly payments as low as $125 a month. Hooray! Custom fit tub and shower solutions are installed in as little as 1 day, and every installation is backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Bathfitter Northwest because they work here, they live here, and they love making bathrooms better for their neighbors. Visit bathfitternw.com to schedule a free consultation. This offer won't last long.
Hey there, Don Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our 48th birthday, and you get the gifts. Outstanding savings on saltwater hot spring spas, free Bluetooth music, and interest-free financing for 3 years. Plus, exciting savings on endless pool swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges. How's that for a birthday to remember? Ends August 24th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. Don't miss History at the Hub, Friday, August 22nd from 4 to 8 p.m. A fundraiser for the North Olympic History Center. You'll enjoy drinks, light refreshments, and live music. Come make your own block print with a selection of historic newspapers. A silent auction offers items from vintage collectibles, clothing, artwork, jewelry, and area experiences. Benefiting the NOHC, History at the Hub is Friday, August 22nd, 4 to 8 p.m. at the Hub in downtown Port Angeles.
Campfires, road trips, late night stories, and early morning hikes. During RV Country's Labor Day sales event, your next adventure is waiting for you. Choose from a huge selection of new and used RVs perfect for families big or small. Trade in your old RV, get easy on-the-spot financing, and check out our Labor Day deals. Like this 2025 Odyssey for $568 a month, or this 2025 Little Buggy for $172 a month. The adventure of a lifetime is waiting for you at all RV Country locations.
You may have seen on the news, gold and silver are at an all-time high. Ever wonder what your old jewelry and coin collections are worth? Come see me at American Rare Coin and Gold in Squim. We can all use a little extra money, right? Here at American Rare Coin, we love to buy gold and silver and provide you the best prices. American Rare Coin and Gold, 338 West Washington in Squim, or call 360-968-4943. 360-968-4943.
All right, welcome back to the program. Kind of staying on a real estate theme here a bit. We're going to talk about the real estate market a little more in depth. It is our monthly chat with May Graves. She is our real estate guru and the pro around here, and she comes in to share with us kind of where things stand with the market. I'll just play off of what the assessor said in going through her assessment. She said, well, the market's kind of stayed a little flat.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that in the last year?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that from an assessor standpoint. Does that mean our taxes aren't going up?
That's kind of what she said.
Right.
The assessments maybe not as shocking, perhaps.
Yeah, great news. Yeah, I know I've been saying it's sort of a roller coaster. It's kind of like schizophrenia, multiple personalities. I don't know. Yeah, right. Flat is probably a good word for it. I think we've only gained about 1.33% from last year at this time to this year at this time, which is pretty flat, right? But it's better than going down. So some of the data, when I look at it, I'm like, ooh, we're slipping a little there. But then the next month we're like, oh, we're recovering now. So we're just sort of bumping along.
A lot of that still with kind of the mortgage rates being what they are. I mean, they haven't really established, is it going to go up or go down?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, rates are high. We keep hearing they're going to lower them, and probably in the fall, probably in September. But when you think about median home price, even if they lower it, they're talking about like 0.25%. So what does that change your mortgage? $150, $250. It helps, but it's not like it's going to create a frenzy by any stretch.
Got it. So we're not going to go immediately maybe to the days we had 5 years ago or so, or 3 years ago. Even.
Yeah, the unicorn years.
Yeah, that's your word for it, right? Okay. Okay, give us some numbers, though, as to what the last month or so has looked like and some comparisons.
Yeah, so because of the Mariners games and whatnot, we're reporting a little late this month. Right. So this is July data, even though we're in the third week of August. We'll have that pretty soon. So for let's start in Port Angeles. For Port Angeles, we sold 38 homes in the month of July. June was 45, but if I look back at the previous month, it was 42 and 46. So not a big difference there, right? Days on market, still just 13 days. That feels like they're flying off the market, right? Now, there could be some inventory that's hanging around. If they're overpriced, really boils down to price. You can say it's location, it's a lot of things, but everything sells when it gets to the right price. Median home price in Port Angeles, $438. The month before was $479. So that seems like it took a real dip, but the month before that was $425. So we just had some nice homes sell, probably that bumped that up. Over asking, 10 of the 38 homes were at or over asking, which is a bit down. The month before was 22 of 45 were at or over asking. And then cash sales, 9 of the 38. Now, let me give you a squim. I know we're on kind of a crunched agenda today.
Yeah.
We'll talk fast. Homes sold in in Squim, 62. That's a lot of homes. 51 the month before. Days on market, 28, which is way up. We were talking like
that seems
9 and 10.
You're right. Wow.
Right?
So okay.
That, just an anomaly, though. Median home price, $560. The month before was $590, so that's down like 5%. But, not enough to worry about, really. At or over asking, 24 of the 62 homes were at full price or over, and we're still selling 97% of full price for most of the homes. And then 19 of the 61 were to cash buyers. Well, one interesting thing that I was looking up, I don't usually report this, but things like VA and FHA loans, there were a lot of them in July. So in May, we only had 4. Then in June, we had 3. In July, we had 10. But I think some of that is seasonality. It's the time of year. The Coast Guard's pretty sensitive to families moving that time of year. And Port Angeles being a big military town, or I guess I should say Coast Guard town, people moving.
But that can have an effect, certainly. Right. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so this is the time of year. It's August. Give us your tips from the real estate pro that you are. If I'm looking to sell or buy or whatever, what are you telling your clients?
So I think it's more important than ever to get your house ready for the market, and the details matter. Like I'm getting ready to list a house today, and it's kind of a bachelor pad, lots of sports memorabilia and stuff on the walls. I kind of gave him his checklist of things like what to do, and I kind of cringed because I'm like, I'm sorry, you got to take your beer sign down.
But that's his personality, right? Yeah. But that's important because
it is.
You want to sell to everybody, not just somebody that might want a beer sign.
Exactly.
Right.
But I was surprised. I come back a week later, and the place was like sterile, clean, like nothing personal. I was like, cool. I'll be right back with some props.
Because you can go too far the other way, right? You don't want it to be too sterile, but
so I came back with some plants and some artwork for the walls, and it's going to look great and it's going to sell. But I think more than ever, it's important to appeal to a broader audience. And a lot of buyers are sitting on their hands right now waiting for rates to come down. We've got to really make a compelling story. We have this little saying, if it's not compelling, it's not selling.
I like that. What is this a good time to be listing or not?
I think it's a great time right now. Yes, because we get this. So in the spring, let's say February, March, April, we get this big push of people looking for homes. The days are longer. The sun's out, less rain. They come in flocks and droves to buy a home. But then all that inventory builds. And so we have more homes than we do buyers for a little while. Then it kind of flattens out. So right now, I feel like a lot of the inventory has kind of been being bought up. So there is a little lull. But November is one of our biggest closing months. Also, April is big. November is a big closing month. So if you get your house on the market, let's say in September, you get an offer 30 days later, you could be out of there in November.
All right. What about buying right now? What's your advice if someone's looking?
Yeah, buying, I feel like you have options. Like for buying, you have a little leverage. You can still feel like you're getting a bit of a deal, where some years you're going to pay over asking, right? And then there are other years, if you wait around for a great deal, you're going to miss out. Somebody else will just take a good deal. So I say, if it's those things, if you need to move, the diamonds, the divorce, the death, all those things that compel people to have to move, I say, get a good deal. Don't try to wait for a great deal, because while you're waiting, things are still going up that 1.5% per year. And if the rates aren't coming down, all you're doing is just staying in a place that doesn't work for you anymore.
All right, last point. When you go back to those stats, you're probably not surprised how many cash deals there are in there, right? Because of the way interest is and all of that. Yeah,
we're seeing a little bit less cash right now, interestingly. I'm not sure what that is attributed to. And this is always just a snapshot. Like when we look at median home price and we see it go down, well, does that mean because the larger the house, the lower the price per square foot typically? If it's a tiny house, it could be $600 a square foot because it's all kitchens and bathrooms and expensive stuff. Yeah, so it's just a snapshot of the market.
We're seeing a lot of people, the trend had been they're selling a much higher valued property in another state, for example, and then they can carry that cash and buy something small, well, actually, I can't say something smaller, something more affordable.
Right. For years, we call them half-price homes because they come from King County, where the median house price there is
that's
twice.
Still a thing?
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Absolutely, where they just pull their cash out there when they sell, come here and plunk it down, and now they can live without a mortgage. But what we're seeing this time of year, what we usually see is people wanting to get away from the fires. Like the South is a tinderbox right now, and they're seeing, they're just like, we got to get out of here. We can't do this another year. And they're ready to get out, or the humidity or different things. There's been a lot of weird weather in the South. So we're seeing people from the South like ready for change.
All right. So we'll have a lot of unique accents coming to our town, right?
So I just tell them, bring your polar fleece.
There you go. Yeah, for a while. It's going to take a bit to get acclimated.
Yeah.
May, it's always great to talk to you. Again, how do we find you? Because you've got got all of this available to folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I just tell people, call me. I could say Google me or here's my website, but just call me. I love to chat. Well, you can tell 360-461-1922, and it's May Graves, local realtor, Sequim and Port Angeles.
All right, May, we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. All right.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to do our business bits with Kevin Holt next.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hello, Clallam County. Tri-State's opening their new showroom in Sequim by appointment only, offering roofing, Pella windows, siding, patio covers, and doors. To schedule an appointment, please call 360-208-2222 or visit tristate.pro. Thank you for putting your trust in Tri-State Roofing. We got you covered.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Don't miss History at the Hub, Friday, August 22nd from 4 to 8 p.m. A fundraiser for the North Olympic History Center. You'll enjoy drinks, light refreshments, and live music. Come make your own block print with a selection of historic newspapers. A silent auction offers items from vintage collectibles, clothing, artwork, jewelry, and area experiences. Benefiting the NOHC, History at the Hub is Friday, August 22nd, 4 to 8 p.m. at the Hub in downtown Port Angeles.
You call one company, no answer. Another promises a quote, but never follows through. And when you finally get somebody, they show up late and their quality is suspect. Does this sound familiar? At Hartnagel Glassworks, we've heard how frustrating it is to find skilled, reliable help. That's why our employee-owned team shows up on time, does the job right, and treats your home with the care it deserves. You know us for window repair and installation, but our expertise goes far beyond that. We also install shower doors and enclosures, glass and cable railings, solar tubes and skylights, and we even sell and install exterior doors. Our customers trust us, and it shows. We have a 100% 5-star rating on Google. So when you're ready for reliable service from a team that shows up and gets it right, call Hartnagel Glassworks. Visit hbsglassworks.com, that's hbsglassworks.com, for more info. And as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
All right, it's our final segment on a Thursday, and that means it's our Business Bit segment. That's when our business guru, Kevin Holt, joins us. And today, another day older and deeper in debt. One of my favorite lyrics ever. There we go. So this kind of is a bit of an add-on. We've been talking about this in the past. So, all right, bring us the bad news.
Well, this is the news from the Federal Reserve. They released their second quarter household debt and credit report last week. Now, the good news is no one was fired for presenting that data. The bad news is the whole report. So once again, we see the vastly different impacts of recent economic changes on U.S. consumers. Faithful KONP listeners who benefit from Dave Ramsey's advice and reports for your humble business guru here, we all know the secret. Those who are keeping household debt to a minimum are weathering the storm. Those who did not are feeling the heat. This most recent report shows the struggles of what I call the three kinds of holders of excess debt: the unknowing, the unwilling, and the unexpected. The unknowing are those consumers without the benefit of financial literacy. These borrowers took on student loans without having any kind of a plan. Many of the unknowing have car notes with 72 or 84-month terms and double-digit interest rates. Too many carry high-interest credit card debt and are frequent users of buy now, pay eventually. And we've talked in the past about how these buy now, pay later debts are starting to creep into credit reports. Mm-hmm. We also talked about how if you miss a payment, it's the same thing as missing 10 car payments on your credit score. So watch out. Yeah. So the unknowing really took a beating this quarter. Student loans. Well, we've talked about those several times, but this is the time of year that the Department of Education told us we would really see the outcomes. So the student loans are now completely under the supervision of the new Department of Education, and those balances have hockey sticked. And for those of you not familiar with that term, that means something that travels along kind of flat like a hockey stick does and then goes straight up in the air. Investors love it. Debt holders, not so much. Loan balances, loan delinquencies, and loan defaults all appear as skyward trending lines on the Fed charts. And I showed a chart to Todd. It's not pretty. And with interest accruing again on student loans and rates as high as 6%, overdue balances surged by $7 billion since May. Every month since, 6 million more student loan borrowers have reached delinquency. So now, as of August, 24 million borrowers are newly delinquent. And if you remember the news, delinquent borrowers get a credit score hit of 100 to 300 points.
Wow.
How is your credit score? Yeah, then take 300 points from that. Ouch. So a growing number of student loan borrowers are also sliding into default. And default means you've been in delinquency for more than 270 days. That's when default means we don't think you're going to pay at all. And that's punished severely. The number of defaulted loans has doubled, jumping from 5 million to an estimated 10 million by next month. Defaulted borrowers are subject to collection action, including wage garnishment and similar actions. Now, one thing to remember about these unpaid student loans, 40% of student loan borrowers did not even get a degree.
Wow.
So that's what an old judge I watch on YouTube calls paying for a dead horse. You've bought something you can't ride. There's a strong suggestion the Department of Education is taking a closer look at the universities involved in these loans. In fact, Linda McMahon is investigating about 1,100 colleges right now. And the reason is that most of us who were blessed to go to college were prepared from that from day one. I remember getting scolded in the first grade, being told your college admissions is going to look at what you did today, Kevin, and it's not going to go well for you. People who grew up in families that did not prepare them in that way often don't do well when they start college. Colleges like our own Peninsula College have a much more student-centric approach to assuring success. Bigger colleges, not so much. Our beloved WSU, you get in, you sink or swim.
I tell you, that's
not a lot of help there. It's a university. So that's one of the reasons many of these students did not get a degree or pay off their loan. And the Department of Education is looking at some of these colleges saying, who did you let in? Did you assess their ability to benefit? Or were you just filling your rooms with bodies to continue your budgets?
And collect federal dollars that way. Right, yeah.
Big questions there. So that's the unknowing. Now the unwilling. The unwilling are just those unwilling to face reality, and those are Dave Ramsey's target market. And the reason for that, of course, is that the unknowing don't know they're in trouble at all. And the unexpected don't know they're in trouble yet. So the unwilling are the best positioned to turn their lives around. But until the unwilling gets a clue, they will simply take on more debt in an effort to solve debt problems. The unwilling see credit capacity as money rather than a future obligation. As the old David Bowie song goes, I've been putting out the fire with gasoline. Home equity lines of credit in this group have grown by 25% since the second quarter of 2022. There are now over $400 billion in outstanding secured home equity loans. Difference between a credit card and a home equity loan? You don't pay your credit card, they take away your credit card. You don't pay your HELOC, they take away your house.
That's right, yeah.
So that's very, very dangerous ground there, Mr. Spicoli. So stay focused on what you're doing with that. The unwilling are maxing high-interest credit cards, using buy now and pay eventually at the grocery store, and they're hoping it'll just all work out. It won't, so stay tuned for a reality check or start that Dave Ramsey baby stepping.
Right.
Eat
In about
that
10
elephant.
minutes, you'll get some advice from him.
Yes, indeed. He's our guy. You know, and what he tells you is right as rain. So listen closely if you're struggling. Now, the unexpected, they never saw it coming. The unexpected holders of debt were doing just great until they weren't. These consumers tell of feeling confident enough in their situation to use debt to take trips and buy luxury goods. Okay. Circumstances under which you should use debt to do that, I can't think of one. So a lost job, a sudden illness, or some other bad surprise found these debt holders unprepared for a sudden change in fortune. The fastest growing category of debt with these consumers is debt over 30 days. In other words, people brand new to being in arrears. Oops. Credit card balances rose by $27 billion during the second quarter and now total $121 trillion outstanding. These delinquencies are already approaching Great Recession levels, and that's a revolting development from just 2 years ago when borrowers in arrears dropped to just 3%. We had all that post-pandemic money. We paid our balances, we put money in the bank, and then we lost our minds.
That was one of the complaints because you were supposed to go shop with that money.
Yes, what are you doing putting it away?
Why are you saving it or paying off your debt?
Well, guess what? They went ahead and caught up.
Yeah.
This unsecured debt approaches the entire annual budget of the U.S. government in the 20-teens.
Wow.
Auto delinquencies doubled in the last 12 months, and they have reached levels not seen since the Great Recession. There is some serious pain coming in automotive space unless you sell auto parts. The average age of cars on the roads today is approaching 13 years, and that's a very high number. However, What is called the aftermarket sector, accessories, parts, supplies, and repairs, has exploded. This market has doubled in size since 2022. Young men, young ladies, get into auto repair.
That's true.
I mean, if you just look on our block here, we've got a transmission company that's got cars coming out the doors.
That's right.
We've got a general repair spot on the other side that's got cars coming out the windows. I mean, they are jammed. And foreclosures and bankruptcies doubled since 2021. Most of these happened before the massive layoffs that we are seeing in tech, that high-income sector carrying high debt. 131,000 new bankruptcies were filed in the second quarter alone.
My goodness.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're in trouble. So let's get that fixed. Now, next time, we'll discuss what I call a modest proposal from the people of Eastern Oregon and how AI can help you get a better car loan right here on Business Bits.
All right. And you can go to kevinyourbusinesscoach.com, get all of this info. You can contact Kevin there as well. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Kevin Holt there. We get him in most Thursdays when we're not delayed by baseball to talk about business stuff here with our Business Bits. That's going to put a wrap on the show today, and we'll check in with the news coming up next.
If you like sunshine, warm weather, and vacation like I do, then August is your month. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and if you like great deals on closeout models, then August is also your month. We've got great selection, huge rebates, awesome financing, and some of the best brands on the planet. Makes it seem like the end of summer, but it's not, so hurry in for best selection. Stop by and check us out at 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
In conjunction with Squim Valley Chapel and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Home, we're excited to announce the installation of 3 additional niche banks within the Veterans Circle at Mount Angeles Memorial Park in Port Angeles. Each bank has 48 niches, and each niche comfortably houses 1 to 2 sets of remains. We are proud to help serve veterans and their families by adding this additional memorial space to Mount Angeles Memorial Park. Peninsula Cemeteries, because endings matter.
The seasons are changing at Brown's. Summer apparel and shoes are moving out to make room for fall goodies. Now's the time to grab up anything that caught your eye this summer because it'll be gone in a blink. Right, Uncle?
That's right. Stop in for sales on backpacks, tents, sleeping bags, and clearance apparel. We're fully stocked on all the necessities to get you outside and enjoy the rest of the summer.
You heard him. Brown's has you covered, no matter the adventure. We even rent 2 sizes of bear cans, starting at $10 for the first 5 days. Family owned and outfitting the Olympic Peninsula for forever.
Get ready for Ribfest in Esquimalt, BC. Tickets are now on sale for this 3-day event, September 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hop across the water and experience 6 different rivers, live music, local brews, ice cream, deep fried onions, poutine, and more. The Kids Zone is a favorite for those parents who want to let loose without losing their kids. Book the Taster Package with Black Ball Ferry Line, including ribs, shuttle, and ferry, from only $79. Or upgrade to Feast Mode for only $20 more and enjoy all-inclusive food and drinks for 2 hours. Visit cohoferry.com for details.
Stop by Paua Treasure Trap. We're located in the front of Easy Pond in downtown Port Angeles. We have a fun selection of gifts to choose from. Everything from our best-selling leather journals to anime figures and fun pop culture gifts. We also have hard-to-find collectible swords for fantastic displays. And you've got to check out our adult humor section in our front mezzanine that's full of not safe for work gag gifts guaranteed to spark laughter. Easy Pond in downtown Port Angeles.
Craving the best burger in town? Head to the Firehouse Grill in Port Angeles for an elevated drive-thru experience.
I'm Trevor Shumway. We're family owned and serving the best burgers in town. And hand-breaded chicken, Philly cheesesteaks, and hand-scooped ice cream the old-fashioned way. Join us at Firehouse Grill Burgers and Fries, where great food and family come together.
We've got fresh food fast. Google Firehouse Grill and order ahead.
Firehouse Grill Burgers and Fries. Proud to support the community.
Celebrating 80 years of trusted news and local connections. This is News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump, in a radio interview today, says he will join police and military in Washington, D.C. tonight during their surge patrols. It comes after the president federalized law enforcement in the nation's capital to curb crime. Hurricane Erin is barreling north in the Atlantic, raking the North Carolina coast and Outer Banks earlier today, and still posing a threat for surge and rip currents along the mid-Atlantic and northeast. New Jersey's governor has declared a state of emergency through tomorrow. ABC meteorologist Melissa Griffin is tracking the storm.
We have high tide here in the Northeast later this evening, so inundation could reach 1 to 3+ feet through this evening. So coastal flooding still a big concern.
In Southern California, parole board hearings are underway for Eric Menendez today. He and his brother Lyle have been in prison for more than 3 decades for the shotgun murders of their parents. Both say they were acting in self-defense after being abused by their father.
Eric Menendez's chances of getting parole are uncertain as he is now in front of the parole board making his case for freedom. But a parole board assessment of the brothers earlier this year found them to be a moderate risk if they were to be released into society. And the main question that the board has to determine today is if Eric Menendez would be an unreasonable risk to the community if released. Lyle Menendez has his hearing on Friday. Alex Stone, ABC News, San Diego County.
In Colorado, authorities are investigating an accident involving a dairy incident in Weld County. Rescuers say they recovered 6 bodies from a dairy in what was described as a confined space. The cause of their deaths unknown, but Weld County officials say they don't believe it's a criminal element. Nearly 24 countries, including Britain and Canada, have condemned the Israeli government plans to move forward with settlement expansions in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. It would divide the West Bank, making a Palestinian state logistically impossible. You're listening to ABC News.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left?
I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped.
Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
New security measures are being added at the Centers for Disease Control headquarters in Atlanta in the wake of the attack that killed a police officer 2 weeks ago.
Some CDC leadership has returned to headquarters in Atlanta, according to an internal letter obtained by ABC News. Repair work is underway at the 2 buildings most affected by the attack, and CDC leadership's informed employees extra security has been added to campuses. CDC staffers who are planning to attend Friday's memorial for DeKalb police officer David Rose were advised not to wear anything that could identify them as a CDC employee. Brian Clark, ABC News.
The Texas State Senate will vote next on the redistricting measure passed by House state lawmakers yesterday. It could give the GOP a handful of new seats in Congress. Other states now pushing to redraw their maps. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Republican-leaning states have more opportunities to redistrict. They don't